Is there a correct way to say the name of this flower? I'm told Minnesotans say peony, and others say peony, and I still crack up whichever way I hear it. Let's visit the Asplund Peony or Peony Gardens and get the real information from Bruce and Don Roll about these beautiful blossoming plants. Here, Dawn gives a suggestion about which plant to add to your garden.
I suggest to people to look at the leaf or the bush because you're going to see that 5-6 months of the year, and there are different heights. Solo flight, and then you have Royal Rose here, who is just only 24 inches, and some are really tight bushes, whereas some are more free-flowing, and the leaf structure on all of them are different. Also on Solo Flight over here, when she comes up in the spring, she is a bright red, beautiful bright red, and then as she gets her blooms, she turns to green.
Now, why isn't this one blooming and the next one is?
They come at different,
okay. Just look at all the buds.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think today with all the heat, you're going to see a lot more come. She just started yesterday. So.
Okay, it sounds, now as you're describing them, you call them she.
Because a lot of them were named after people, and so a lot of them have female names. And so that can be deceiving because like in the other garden we have a coral fay and she's pink. So it's very, you know...
what about these here?
This is Nippon Beauty and Faribault Gold, and they're later varieties. This is your old-fashioned white that flops on the ground. But this is Paula Fay right here, the pink. She's very roughly.
Bob, I'm asking everyone this question. Is it, how do you pronounce the name of the flower?
Well, this is a friend in Connecticut who bought a big place and was redoing it. He calls it peony, as the Italians call it, peony.
And apparently Minnesotans. Bruce, how about
Minnesotans say peony, but the proper way is peony.
Okay.
It depends on how I feel. I pronounce it both ways.
Thank you. Daryl, would you explain that again about your neighbor? She pronounces it...
Yeah, I have a 98-year-old neighbor who pronounces it peony.
And you pronounce it however...
It's peony or peony. This depends on who I'm speaking to.
Or how you feel.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
How I feel.
Gotcha. Now let's take a look at one of Daryl's favorites.
I forget what the name of this is.
Beautiful.
But this one over here I think is different.
Let's go over there.
I'm not sure if it's different or not.
Oh, the fragrance.
I love that color. And look at it when it's not quite so far open. Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah. Thank you.
It was old before I could divide them. So I took that single plant and divided it into these 4 here, and the other one I was able to get 5, but 2 of them didn't make it. And after that, now we're up to about year 10, and I'm actually ready where I can divide these plants out again into about 3 plants each. And I'm hoping within the next 10 years I'll have them registered and can start selling them.
Do you have a name picked out?
That one we're calling Asplund, and this one up here we're calling Zimbrota. And we do have other crosses that are actually just 1-year-old down here. Obviously we do get, that's a tiger swallowtail, we do get lots of butterflies out here. These ones are 2-year-old crosses. The mother plant was Silver Dawn, and the father was actually Fern Leaf. And I was hoping I'd get some of the Fern Leaf to take, but I don't see any change in the leaf structure yet, so I don't know yet for another couple of years until the flowers come out. So So as you see, when I did this, there's actually close to 300 plants in here. And if I'm lucky, I might be able to keep 1 or 2 of them that I like for plants, and the rest will either fall over or be bad and end up in the compost pile.
But it's not all work at the Rolls. There is time to take a break with some homemade elderberry wine. Now let's get some more instructions from Bruce.
When you think about it, it's 3 to 5 years before they bloom.
Okay.
You know, then 6 to 8 years before you divide them the first time, then about 10 years the second, you know, and you're starting with 1 plant, going to 3 or 4 plants, then maybe up to 12 plants, you know, then maybe 36, and then, you know, maybe 100. So, and then maybe by the time you're at 20 years, there might be 300 of them around, and then you can actually probably start retailing them then.
So you're saying it takes from
At
really
least 20 to 25 years from the time you cross something before they're sold for peonies. The only way to keep the plant true to its form is through root division. You can't take leaf cuttings or grassings or anything. So it's a slow process. So likewise, peonies are one of those plants that stays, I would say, more stable and pricey. It's held a lot longer before they really start dropping in value.
Okay.
They got to be around several hundred years almost before they start getting down into that $3 price range. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
What is the price range of peonies?
Anywhere for us, we just flat out the lowest we go is $20.
$20 a bush.
Yep. And some of the highest ones I think we have are $60. And those are the yellows. And there are some yellows out there yet that are going for up to $200 and $300 a piece. And there's peonies out there that are so new yet, and crosses and beautiful, they're still up in the $1,000 price ranges. Intersectionals are a cross between a tree peony and a herbaceous peony, a bush, and a regular herbaceous peony. And that's where they're getting all these new vivid colors and larger flowers crossing them. And they're called intersectionals, but they're also known as Ito peonies, because Ito was the first person to start crossing them in Japan. And he died, I believe it was in the 60s. And at that time he had done over 10,000 crosses trying to come up with a yellow. And it was 5 years after he died, 5 of the plants bloomed as yellows. So he never got to see his life's work. And his wife kept the place in the gardens. I don't know how things work in Japan, but she still stayed there. And it was in the 70s, I had read that it was a professor or something from California University was over there and heard rumors of these yellow herbaceous peonies. So he went over there, tracked them down, seen them, and paid $10,000 a piece for a division off of each of the plants. So even up into the 80s, those things were still going for thousands of dollars. And now they're getting down to the point they're just, you know, hundreds of dollars.
So you do get to sit down once in a while. Between March and November, you rarely sit, right?
Yeah. Well, when you asked me a big question, I thought you were going to ask me, do the peonies need ants to open? And no, they do not. As a matter of fact, I think we've overwhelmed the ants here. I haven't seen any for a long time, but you do not have to have ants. They just come for the nectar.
Yeah, I'd heard that too.
Oh, I don't know how many times a year we get that question. So.
Thanks to Bruce and Dawn and all their lovely residents sharing the beauty of nature with us. Thanks to all who took part in our program, and thanks to you for watching Along the Way with Rosie.